In the contemporary age, people's minds are in an unnatural psychological state. The causes are different. Some causes are overpopulation, pollution, nutrition, modern medicine. The main cause is that the more civilization is civilized, the more repressed it is. So, the more a society is civilized, the more it lives an unnatural life. The moment a person lives an unnatural life, his breathing becomes unnatural. Having an unnatural breath means that only the upper part of the lungs are used. So the breath becomes superficial. So if we observe a shallow breath, we will not be able to go deep into the observation of our mind. Because by observing a shallow breath, our observation will also be superficial. A superficial observation means that it is only the conscious mind that is observed and not the unconscious mind. Observation is a subtle action that is capable of transforming us. The moment we become aware of our unconscious mind, the transformation begins. Observation introduces us to the unconscious mind, which means that slowly we become aware of our unconscious. The moment we become aware of our unconscious, it will no longer be unconscious, but become conscious. The unconscious mind is that part of the mind which represents the psychic dimension containing thoughts, emotion, instinct, behavior models, often are the basis of human action, but of which the subject is not aware. But when a meditator becomes aware of the unconscious, thanks to the observation of the natural breath, this obviously will no longer be unconscious, but will become part of the conscious mind. In ordinary people, the unconscious mind is 9 times larger than the unconscious mind. A person who practices Vipassana will see that part of his unconscious mind grow, and the part of the unconscious mind decrease. With daily and regular practice, the unconscious mind continues to shrink until it disappears. A meditator must get to the point that the unconscious will no longer exist. His mind will no longer be divided. Another point that the speaker wants to specify that Vipassana has to do only with the observation of the breath, without any expectation. Sitting and watching the breath, but having a goal to achieve, is no Vipassana. Meditating to make the unconscious disappear will not work. When we meditate, we must completely forget the utilitarian mind. A utilitarian mind is a mind that does something to get something else. In this case, a person meditates to get the unconscious to disappear. This desire to make the unconscious disappear will only make the unconscious mind grow rather than decrease. Desire is an insurmountable barrier. A person must be free from any desire to grow spiritually. The difference doesn't exist. Whatever you want, power, God, money, enlightenment, nirvana, the problem is not what you desire, but the desire in self. A mind that desire is not yet mature enough for true meditation. Another point that the speaker wants to specify is that the object is always the breath. The speaker will never tire of repeating this point, because the mind will try in every way to distract you, giving you good ideas, rationalizing. The experience will become so true that it is really difficult not to be distracted. If we observe the breath indirectly, we will also observe our mind and our body. In reality, the mind and the body are the same thing. There is no division. The body is the visible part and the mind the non-visible part. Using two different words is existentially wrong. The correct word is mind-body. If we observe our breath indirectly, we will also observe our mind. If we decide to move the object of meditation from breath to mind, we make a mistake. Because in the momento that we observe the mind directly, we will soon be identified in the thought process, and we will completely forget the observer. This is because thinking and the observer are not two things, but one. Thanks to the observation of natural breathing, we will be able to go deep into ourselves and bringing to light many experiences and the causes of problems which are buried in our unconscious. If we can observe the root of our problem that are in our unconscious, without identifying with it, the problem starts to disappear. It is one thing to take care of the symptom of the problem. This is what therapists and psychologists do. Another thing is to take care of the root of the problem. If we take care of the symptom of the problem, but leave the root of the problem unresolved, the symptom will continue to present itself in a different form. Like when we decide to cut a green plant, as long as we just cut the leaf without eliminating the root, it will continue to grow again until we decide to go deeper and remove the roots. Obviously, cutting the plant is an easy job which everyone can do. But if we decide to cut the root, it will be much more difficult. The deeper the root has gone, the more difficult it will be to remove. In the same way, the longer we let a problem grow within us, the more difficult it will be to eliminate it. It is easier for many people to continue solving the various symptoms that arise than to deal with the problem. These people are very superficial and don't know what is to live. They are content with a simple and superficial life. For a person whose mind is repressed, to sit down and practice Vipassana, the risk is high. Because instead of gaining freedom, he will find himself in a mental and physical state of greater bondage. This is because the mechanism of the mind will behave as it has always done. Instead of bringing problem to light, they will be repressed in the unconscious. This is because the mind has always done this, not only during this life, but also in the past life for thousands of years. Observing the breath will become just a new system of repression. Because whenever we find ourselves experiencing something we don't like, we will find it and focus on the breath. Thanks to the fact that we will focus on the breath, we will be able to escape from what we do not like. This is repression. Concentration on the breath is no Vipassana. Observation and concentration are not the same thing. Concentration is something we do. Observation is something that happened to us. We don't not do it. To observe, we must not exist. In observation, we are the problem. To observe correctly, we don't have to exist. Meditation has nothing to do with discovering who we are, but in realizing that we not exist. We are just an illusion. To use an Indian word, we are Maya. To overcome these problems that contemporary men encounter in the practice of Vipassana, new techniques and a new lifestyle have been introduced since the 70s for the meditator. For the people who approaches meditation in the 70s, they was not asked to give up life, enter into silence, become celibate, have 1 meal a day, etc. This will only lead to more repressed mind. Instead, they were asked to practice technique capable of bringing to light all mental repression, so that the mind loses the habit of repressing everything that is not socially acceptable. This technique are a mixture of the techniques discovered in the West by therapists since the early 1960s, and the ancient meditation technique used by Tibetan, Zen, Hinduists, and Buddhists. Thank you for listening.